Hey yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. And today we got the new version 4.2 first phase banners that we're going to be discussing on whether you should pull or not. We have Furina, Baizhu, and much more. Now before we get started with the video, make sure you guys hit that like button as well as subscribe to the channel for more of this type of content, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on my latest uploads or whenever I go live on my streams. Alright, now on to the disclaimer. Everything I'm about to talk about in this video is all intended for meta purposes or to those who are unsure what to spend their privileges on. If you guys like these rated characters by design or gameplay, then feel free to disregard everything I say in this video and go for the characters you like. Remember, this is a gacha game, so you should always pull for your favorite characters. And now let's check out the banners. Alright, we got Furina and Baizhu as the 5 stars, and as for the 4 stars, we got Beidou, Collei, and Charlotte. Now this is the first time we have both the new 5-star and 4-star character featured in one banner. Alright, let's start with the 4 stars from top to bottom. Starting with Beidou, she is an Electro Burst DPS. I actually like Beidou's design a lot. She has a counter and a very reactive burst ability. My only downside to this is that her burst heavily relies on either reactions or dealing AoE damage. This is to trigger her chain attack from her burst, or whenever with Electro-related reactions, she can easily spin and apply more Electro, which obviously means more damage. But for single target situations, she pretty much loses the majority of her best features. As a 4-star, she still is pretty strong, and for a character that relies on reaction, can always get better with more released characters. She still has many great team comps, and she's one of the best offensive Electro DPS options. Up next, we have Collei, and she is a Dendro support. She's mainly great for more offensive, applicative, quick damage. In other words, she fits really well with quick swap teams and obviously Dendro teams. But for those that doesn't know about Collei, you are able to obtain her for free by playing Spiral Abyss and beating the 4th floor. Anyways, to me, the fact that Collei is free to all players and being rated up kinda devalues this banner, although on the bright side, her constellations are quite nice if you're able to get some copies. My overall thoughts about Collei is that she is decent and she has the advantage of being a Dendro element, plus being free, and her constellations are nice to have. But in my opinion, there are lots more Dendro options that I would prefer over Collei. Then again, she can get the job done, and that's all that matters. And lastly, we have Charlotte, which interestingly enough, she is a 4-star Cryo Catalyst. So we're getting like back-to-back Cryo Catalysts in the game, which at the time, that was a completely new combination that a lot of people has requested, but now we have a 4-star version of a Cryo Catalyst, so which is pretty cool. She is able to mark her opponents like Nahida and heal from her burst. For my own thoughts about Charlotte is that she's kind of like a quarter-free version of Furina. Now, I know what I said there may not make sense, but basically the reason why I say this is that she can do crowd DPS and heal, which is sort of similar to what Furina can do. The thing is, we don't know about her DPS and heal potential, but assuming she's good with one of them or the other, or even better, both, she could potentially be more than just a support character. It's hard to say whether she'll be better than someone like Diana, who also heals, but if she can do both DPS and healing, then she will be more of a great offensive support option. And if not, then the more sustained / support roles are always welcome. Alright, so those are the 4 stars. Now let's move on to the 5 stars. We got Furina. She is the Hydro Archon, and as for her roles, she could do DPS, heal, buff, and potentially an enabler for reactions. Now that does sound a lot and pretty crazy, which makes sense since she is one of the Archons, so pretty much she is expected to be OP, right? Well, it's still too early to say how game-breaking she'll be. Some parts of her kit does make me question, such as how fast is her Hydro application, or how much she can stack her fanfare points, or how often she can heal, etc. But again, those are questions for when she is released in the game. Although one thing I can say guarantee for sure is that since she is the Hydro element, she's going to have the advantage of being a reliable teammate for your party because of how flexible Hydro is as an element. I think she has a lot of potential to be game-breaking, but that's just me speculating at the end of the day. Up next is Baizhu, which honestly, I'm surprised to see him in these banners. I was expecting to see him in next year's Lantern Right Festival, which honestly I still feel like that would have been a great time to release him, but that's just my opinion. Now, how good is he? For what he's designed for, he's a great healer and an overall Dendro support. He also has the advantage of being a catalyst, which means he can always apply Dendro to enable / trigger reactions. Plus, he can give a mini shield and buff Dendro reactions. So he sounds like a valuable character to own. Well, if you don't have Yao Yao, then yes, I would agree. He is the more premium version of Yao Yao. However, my main criticism for him is that his off-field Dendro application is terrible, which can affect certain team comps gameplay. And in my opinion, out of the flexible units, he doesn't necessarily have the best team comp for him, which means you don't need to pull. Of course, this does depend on your preference, and he is still a great flexible option for lots of Dendro team comps. And those are the character banners. Now let's move on to the weapon banner. And here's the weapon banner. Now like usual, let's start off with the 4 stars from right to left. First up, we got Taco Bell, which actually may be quite relevant soon if they make an actual HP scaling Claymore character. Otherwise, it's still the same. Nobody really uses it. Next up is Dragon's Bane, which I've already explained over 1,000 times. If you want my more in-depth explanation on this weapon, go check out my previous banner videos. Anyways, it's a great EM stat stick that benefits Pyro / Hydro damage. Still a great weapon. Up next is Sacrificial Fragments. Great catalyst, especially for supports. It has a high EM substat, plus the passive is very strong for someone like Sucrose, or it's an EM stat stick for Nahida. Still a great catalyst and can get even better with more character releases. Then we have Sacrificial Sword. One of the most well-known characters that really likes this weapon is Xingqiu, which still hasn't changed to this day. But not only for Xingqiu, this weapon is really great for supports that needs ER. This weapon is highly valuable and gets even better with refinements. Then we have Stringless. It's a great DPS bow with decent amount of EM. Lots of characters can use this, and of course with the refinements, this becomes even better. It's still one of the best 4-star DPS bows in the game. And those are the 4 stars. Now let's move on to the 5 stars. Alright, so starting off with the first 5-star weapon, Jadefall Splendor. So here are the stats. The base attack is 608 and the HP percentage is 49.6%. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised the base attack is a bit higher for an HP weapon. I would have expected this would have been a little bit lower with a lot higher secondary HP substat. Just something I always thought about this weapon. Anyways, for the passive Primordial Jade Regalia, for 3 seconds after using an elemental burst or creating the shield, the equipping character can gain the Primordial Jade Regalia effect, restore 4.5 energy every 2.5 seconds, and gain 0.3% elemental damage bonus for their corresponding elemental type for every 1000 max HP they possesses, up to 12%. Primordial Jade Regalia will still take effect even if the equipping character is not on the field. Well, in a way, you could say that this is the Purple Donut in disguise. Although I like this weapon more than the Purple Donut, but in terms of pull value, this is almost the equivalence to the Purple Donut. Plus, if you're pulling this for Baizhu, honestly don't, because he has great free-to-play options that actually performs closely to his signature, which devalues this weapon. Yeah, I kind of offer pairing this with the Hydro Archon's weapon. But let's move on to her sword and see the stats. And lastly, we have the Splendor of Tranquil Waters. And wow, this weapon looks so freaking good, man. It looks so beautiful. But by the way, what's up with the word Splendor being used on 2 5-star weapons in a row? Like, talk about coincidence. Anyway, so starting off with the stats here, we got a base attack of 542. See, something like that with the Baizhu's Catalyst. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do that with an HP scaling character. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Which makes the crit damage a lot higher at 88.2%, so that's really, really good. Now for the passive, Dawn and Dusk by the Lake. When the equipping character's current HP increases or decreases, elemental skill damage will be increased by 8% for 6 seconds, max 3 stacks. This effect can be triggered once every 0.2 seconds. When other party members' current HP increases or decreases, the equipping character's max HP will be increased by 40% for 6 seconds, max 2 stacks. This effect can be triggered once every 0.2 seconds. The aforementioned effects can be triggered even when the wielder is off field. Ooh, I see, I see. Okay, so this is very straightforward. Basically, you can get elemental skill damage buff and extra HP while triggering the passive both on and off field. Obviously, very suitable weapon for Furina, plus the high crit damage on there makes this quite a strong weapon. I mean, yeah, it has the things that she wants, so this will likely be her best in slot since all the stats and buffs provided works perfectly with Furina. But for in general uses, this is a niche weapon. Sure, you can just ignore the passive and use this for a crit damage stat stick, but the passive currently, I don't see anyone could really use this besides Furina. Who knows, it could be more useful for more character releases, but as of right now, this weapon is mainly for Furina. And those are the banners we just broke down. Now for my overall thoughts on are these banners worth to pull for. For the character banners, honestly, without Furina, so like let's just say this banner, it just looks pretty mediocre. The only reason you should pull is if you're going for Furina. Everyone else here to me are okay, and you always can get them later in the game, unless Charlotte does crazy amounts of damage and heal, but for the rest, it's alright. Then for the weapon banner, unfortunately this is bait. Sure, the 4 stars look nice, besides you, and Furina's weapon looking hella drippy, but man, to get the grand prize, you gotta pull for the green donut. Yeah, for in general, I would skip this unless of course you can afford getting Furina's weapon guaranteed, or you don't mind getting both 5-star weapons, although like what I said before with Baizhu's weapon, it's not that great on him, so treat it like a red flag. Man, honestly, I wish they didn't pair Baizhu with Furina. It literally could have been anyone else, so at least this weapon banner would have looked more appealing to pull for. It's just, yeah, it just sucks, man. Well, it is what it is. And that is everything about the banner. So if you guys all enjoyed this video, make sure you guys hit that like button, as well as subscribe to the channel for more type of content. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on my latest uploads or whenever I go live on my streams. And that is all I got. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, until next time, stay epic and peace out.